Anthropic have gone on to fix one of the biggest problems that business owners have had with the Claude Code platform. So in this video, I'm going to go on to explain what has actually changed, why this is going to benefit you as a business owner, and actually the reason behind why this is happening right now. And it kind of gives us a hint into what to expect further down the line from Anthropic and this battle between ChatGPT and Claude Code. So let me explain. Claude recently just had a Code with Claude Code event, and they made a lot of big announcements there. So Claude have gone on to doubling their 5-hour rate limits on Claude Code for the Pro, Max, Team, and seat-based enterprise plans. So what this currently means is that when you're working with Claude Code, you have a certain time window where you're allowed to use it within, and you're limited to how much you can get done in that time window. Now, that limit was actually incredibly frustrating as a business owner, as you'll be delegating tasks to Claude Code. You'll be working at them for maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, and then hit a hard ceiling where you're locked out and you can't do any more with it for another 3 hours until that session resets. And the biggest problem was the fact that as a business owner, you had a huge amount of your weekly limit that you just couldn't utilize, because every time you use this in a session, you'd get through it really quickly. And this is something that I found a lot when I was giving a workshop just last week. And I was teaching someone how to use AI for web development, and it was great. But the problem was, because of these Claude Code session limits, they'd be working out for an hour or two and then get hard capped. And therefore I'd have to go and show them how to use another different tool in order to get around that. And that involved more subscriptions and a completely different model, which they honestly just did not find as powerful because it wasn't Claude Code. By having double the session limit, you can now do sessions for double the length of time, and you're actually more likely to get through your weekly usage limit. So why is this suddenly the case? Well, really what's happening at the moment between Claude is that the ChatGPT has become a bit of a bigger contender at the moment. ChatGPT was big in its space, and it wasn't until Claude Code came about that all of a sudden they had a bit of strong competition, and they've started losing that market share. But it wasn't until ChatGPT 5.5 came out very recently with their Codex platform that all of a sudden they're kind of clawing back at Claude Code. And one of the advantages that ChatGPT has is their big, massive servers that Claude Code can't keep up with. And as more people were starting to use Claude Code, their own servers just couldn't keep up. And that meant they had to really start limiting how much people could use Claude Code. And that meant we painfully had to go into bigger plans, and also it was just getting dumber. Because of this outside pressure from ChatGPT starting to claw back their market share, Anthropic's hand were forced into reacting to make Claude Code a better product. This has meant they've now partnered with SpaceX, and they've done this through investing in more than 300 megawatts of new capacity, which is over 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs. And really what this means is they've got more compute to allow them to do more AI crunching for us as business owners, so we get less outages, we can actually use more of it. And now for Claude Code can mean they can push on for their higher, more demanding models without being restricted by the amount of compute that can run them. And not only did Anthropic make this announcement live as effective now, they've gone on to make some bigger partnership deals that they've made some announcements on that will further allow them to keep ahead and keep up with ChatGPT's compute into the future. And this includes a partnership with Amazon for an up to 5 gigawatt agreement, which includes nearly 1 gigawatt of new capacity by the end of 2026. It also includes a 5 gigawatt agreement with Google and Broadcom, which will be coming online in 2027. This is, just a year away from now, even more capacity. They've also announced a strategic partnership with Microsoft and NVIDIA, and NVIDIA being the providers of the GPUs that these AI models run off. And that includes a $30 billion of Azure capacity. This is the cloud that runs these computes from, as well as a $50 billion investment in American AI infrastructure with FluidStack. And really what this means for us as business owners is that Claude Code is actually going to be able to keep up with our demands. And we're no longer going to be restricted by models getting dumber and time restrictions being put in place. We can actually work at the rate we need to without having to pay for the higher plans and having our team get slowed down by hitting those limits and having to use a mix of other tools in order to keep up, which is allowing teams to work much quicker using Claude Code to speed up their operations and get ahead of the competition during this time where everything is moving much quicker. And those not utilizing this are getting further behind. And now Claude Code is suddenly allowing that to be much more possible to be able to keep up. So let me know what you think. Comment down below what your thoughts are on whether this is actually going to make a difference to your day-to-day use of AI, and whether this is actually something that now means you can use more Claude Code to actually progress and get more done. Thank you for watching.